Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we're going to use some Caran d'Ache gouache, which is really fun to say, and some tone tan mixed media paper and draw this Route 66 road sign. If you would like a real-time version of this, you can find it up now in Critique Club. I'll put a link in the video description if you would like to know more. And I'll also have the supplies I used linked up. And I wanted to use this Caran d'Ache gouache because, hey, fun to say, and also because it's fairly new and I'm working on a review for it. So I like to give things a good run on different papers, different surfaces, different days, when I'm in different moods, because so many things can affect your perception of a product, and I want to make sure I'm not missing anything, when I'm reviewing it. It's not a super expensive product, but still, you want to spend your money wisely. I do, at least, anyway. So I'm starting off here sketching on some tone tan paper. This is the Stillman & Byrne Nova Series beige sketchbook, and I gotta say, I'm still not totally loving this paper. It's okay, but I am forcing myself to, if not use it up, use a lot of it just to make sure I'm being fair on this paper because so many people love it. I taped off my paper so it would be the same aspect ratio as my reference, and you can see that there on my screen. And an easy way to do this, if you have the photo printed out, is to put that in the corner of your paper and then use a straight edge to go corner to corner and then off the edge of your page, and then you can see where you need to crop it. So that's basically what I did. I actually had a more roundabout way of it that I demonstrate in Critique Club. If you're, say, like doing plein air and using a viewfinder or whatever, I showed a different way to do it too. So if you are in Critique Club, you can check that out. I hope I explained it well. Sometimes describing something is more difficult than actually doing it. Oh, the pencil I am sketching with is a Prismacolor Col Erase pencil. The reason I'm using this is just because I can draw dark enough to have it show up on camera. And sometimes I feel like graphite will leach through paint sometimes, and I don't have the issue with the Col Erase. Plus, drawing with a different color, I think sometimes gets me out of my head a bit. Sometimes I'll get stuck on something, and if I draw in a different color than I usually do, it works out. Now, I did mess up this top sign a little bit. I don't know what was my issue with this top sign, but I'm trying to use the negative space, like the blue sky. I'm trying to kind of draw that edge as much as I am the actual subject when I get stuck. So that's the other reason I wanted to portion off my paper so it was the same aspect ratio as the reference I was using. And we talk about that a bit in Critique Club. And I've got to be completely honest. I was thinking about scrapping this project and doing something completely different, but a circumstance happened this week and I don't have time to make a replacement. So this is what we're going with, and I'm just like, I am going to push through. I'm going to make sure that this turns into something that I like, but it's kind of funny. I like the subject. I had fun painting it. It's been in my 2Paint folder for like a year. And I think for Inktober, I want to do a theme of like retro road signs or retro roadside attractions, just kind of like retro signage, roller rinks, that sort of thing. I just love that sort of vibe, and so I think I'm going to do that for Inktober. Plus, I love the perspective of looking up at a road sign like that. Like I just love that, like when you're driving through a city and you're looking up at like marquees and things like that. I love that feeling and I love that perspective, and it's very difficult, at least for me it is anyway. So I thought this would be a great thing I could level up on and improve on, because in World Watercolor Month I didn't set a theme or an intention or anything, and I painted every day, but I didn't feel like I really got that much out of it. So I'm hoping this will actually show some improvement in an area that I'm struggling with. So that's why I think that's a good idea, or a good way to approach a challenge, a month-long challenge, so you can actually kind of begin with the end in mind, to quote Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, begin with the end in mind. So when you're working on something, you have a clear idea of what your goal is. So to do the sky here, you'll notice, look in the sky, look when you're out walking, next time you're outside, you'll notice that the sky is usually darker higher and it's lighter towards the horizon, and that was the case in this reference photo as well. And also the sky gets a little bit more green as it goes down to the horizon. It's a little bit more like ultramarine blue at the top, and it gets a little bit more cyan as it goes down. So I did use both of the blues in this kit. Now I was looking at the listing on Blick. I just bought this like a month ago, so it's new. They're showing a different assortment of colors in this kit, and I was looking at some of the older reviews, and the older reviews have the other assortment of colors with gray. in it as one of the colors. So I think I have what's currently being sold. I just think Blick hasn't updated their information. I've had a few people ask me about that too, so I had to investigate today, and I think that's the case. So I might pop an email over to Blick and just let them know that. I don't know if if they would change their description, but probably if they knew it was wrong. So I would think this is what you're going to get if you buy the Caran d'Ache gouache. It's just fun to say. I'm going to say it probably a lot because it's almost as fun as oh hoo hoo. But this is not a sponsored video. I did buy this with my own money, and I'm going to do a review on it. I thought the clouds needed a little bit of pinking up in it. There was just a slight pink like look to them. Plus I think that kind of adds to the vintage vibe of these old roadsides. I just love road trip stuff. I don't know why. I'm not much of a traveler, but I just love the road trip motel type stuff. I don't know. So I warmed that up with a little bit of pink. I took the magenta and added a little yellow ochre to it, and it gave a really pretty color. These paints are opaque enough to use on this tone tan paper, but they're not as opaque as a typical gouache. So honestly, if you have gouache at home, I would say just use what you have. I wouldn't go out and buy this gouache to do this project. I'm not even sure if I'm going to recommend it once I fully do my review and do all my tests with this, but it is a fun palette. I'm using the warmer yellow here in this teal because I didn't want it to be like super duper green, but the warm yellow is still pretty cool. It's almost like you have two cool yellows, a really, really cool yellow and a moderately cool yellow to neutral yellow, which I think is too bad. I think there should be like a warmer, more opaque yellow in this kit because yellows can do opacity pretty well if you have a warm undertoned yellow. And another thing, I think with this paint, you really ought to swatch it because, well, it's only 12 colors, so it's not too hard to remember what you have, but the colors do look a lot darker in the pans. The colors, if you look, I'm not worried about picking up color with a dirty brush because it's really easy to clean off these pans. I think it's because this is more of a product for children. When you get into other countries, they're much better about giving good quality products to their kids, and they spend money on them. Here in the United States, the list price on that gouache is $50. I bought it for $32 on Blick. But I mean, they're used to spending more money on their kids' art supplies than we are. We think a good product for kids is a $7 set of Crayola or Prang. Not to knock it at all. Prang watercolors I think are fantastic for the price. But that's what we would see is like a good brand of kids' art supplies to get. But it's nowhere near the quality of like this from Caran d'Ache or some of the Stabilo products or some of the Faber-Castell products that are marketed to children in Europe. They just have a whole other appreciation or standard for these products. And to be completely fair, these are marketed towards children. They have to follow and adhere to certain toxicity standards, and these actually work really well thinned down as watercolor. I used them in a abstract grid layout on my YouTube channel a couple weeks ago, and it worked great as a watercolor. So it's a versatile product. I would say it's probably a little bit more like using a liquid tempera paint, honestly, and I would 100% recommend it for kids. I'm just not sure I'm going to recommend it for adults or not. And if I had $33 to spend on gouache, I would, or somebody's asking me, what would you recommend for an adult that's wanting to paint with gouache? I would say get the Shinhan set of 12 for $33 on Amazon. It's a much higher quality gouache. I think it's going to give you a lot more bang for your buck and a lot more enjoyment. And I think you're actually getting a lot more paint per ml compared to these pans. Even though they are big pans, I still think the tubes are going to see you a little bit longer. But I don't know. I'm still using these. I'm going to use these a little bit more before I come to my final conclusion. But that's kind of where I'm feeling right now. But it could be this paper. It could be my mood. I just got, while I was painting this, I got a phone call that my dad was in the hospital. So I'm kind of in a little bit of a stressy mood. So maybe that has clouded my judgment. And I need to use it on a different day a few more times before I can fully give my opinion. But they did the trick. They did the trick. I'm not gonna say they didn't. So here, what I'm doing is adding in some of the rusty details, like at the corners of where the metal pieces come together, where they're welded together. You get this kind of dark. It's probably just kind of like built up rust and minerals from water collecting, but it really adds to the structure of the piece and adds to that kind of vintage look. I love that juxtaposition of the really bright, poppy neon colors and or neon lights and bright painted colors to that kind of decay and rust and stuff. It's kind of like, here's a snapshot of, you know, the 50s or the 60s when like road tripping was so popular. Everyone had those big boats of car, you know, those big cars with the fins, and they'd throw the kids, and because the cars were humongous, you know, throw the kids in the car and they go on a road trip, and like there'd be these huge signs that would lure people into their hotels or stores, places to stop, restaurants. I love the old A&W restaurants. I think they still have them in Canada, where you've got the waitresses on roller skates. That was my dream job as in high school. I'm like, I want to be one of those roller skating waitresses. I never did because there was never a restaurant like that around me, but I did actually end up working at a roller rink in college or right after college. So my lifelong dream was partially filled there. But anyway, I don't know, it's just something about that style. I've always loved that 60s road trip Americana, poppy, bright, optimistic style. It was an optimistic style. And I think it was probably a response to World War II being over, people having money, the middle class booming, you know, people feeling prosperous. I think that all goes together, and I think that's obviously that was a long time ago. It was before my time, but there's just something just innocent, and obviously, you know, there were problems during that time. I'm not saying there wasn't, but there is something in that nostalgic design sense anyway that is very fun to paint and fun to look back at, you know, because, you know, we can look back and look back at times we never experienced and see what we want to see, right? So here I am doing the detail of the neon, and it occurred to me that I don't have a lot of contrast here, and I don't have actual, well, you know, I could have got out my neon watercolors or some neon acrylics and used that here, but I didn't really want to do watercolor over. I didn't think it would show up for one. Neon colors tend to be very translucent, so even if I was going to do something neon, I would need a base of white. So I went in and I put this kind of like light aqua that I mixed, and it was just reading kind of as white on there. So I know I'm going to have to do something to make that pop later. I'm doing the white neon for the 66, and I'm just kind of offsetting it so you can see that the bulbs, the neon bulbs, are off the face of the sign. And I'm just kind of, at this point, I'm losing steam. I'm kind of like, I'm at that point where that tipping point is like, do I scrap it and do something else? It's like, well, I might not have time to scrap it and do something else. So let's see it through, see what we can do with this. And we have an option anyway. I love the icons that you would see and like that atomic age style. You'd have the little sprockets and the amoebas and the planetary shapes and things like that. I just love that kind of atomic age type of style as well. So I just freehanded that. Actually, I'm really impressed with myself of how I just attacked the lettering and fit everything on there, because I am notorious for running out of space and having to start in the middle of a middle of a word and put my middle letters in and work out from the middle because I run out of space always. So there was some sort of, the gods were smiling on me and giving me a little bit of a break because I've had a week. So I moved one of my babies off to study abroad. So far away. So it's been an emotional week. But everything's going well in that front. I'm doing a little highlight on the pole here that's holding the sign, and I decided to do it with a colored pencil because I made the black, the quote-unquote black for that sign using the Viridian green from the top sign and the red from the bottom sign, and I just mixed them together to make a black, but that it tends to lean purple, so if I added white to that, I knew it would give me this kind of like purple color, so using a colored pencil was just the easiest solution. And I'm doing a little bit of distressing and detailing with colored pencils. I think I overdid it in some areas, but I was kind of at this point focused on finishing it and getting something that somewhat resembles a sign. And then I felt like I needed a little more opacity, something with a little bit more oomph and body, so I just grabbed some acrylic markers. These are the Artex acrylic markers, and I have to say, the way you store your products really makes a big difference on how you use them or not, or if you use them at all. So I made a little marker stand with some like clear acrylic cosmetic organizer things from the Dollar Tree. I glued 3 of them together, and I put my Artix brush markers in there, and I set it on its side on my shelf behind where I sit to paint, and I just grab that and plop it on my desk, and I just use them. And before, when they were in their boxes or they were in a drawer, I never used them. So, you know, get your materials in a way that it's convenient for you to use them. It might not be the best storage solution ever, but if it's so you can access them and use them, it can make the difference between you using a supply up while it's still good, or it drying up in the drawer because you can't, you know, you don't think to use it, or you can't, it just doesn't work with your workflow to pull it out. I know it sounds probably silly. Maybe other people don't have this problem, but if something's inconvenient to use, I am less likely to use it. If I can just pull it off a shelf, or I can grab a couple markers off a shelf, those are the brands I'm going to use, regardless if they're my favorites or not. If they're easy to grab and use, that's what I'm going to use. So keep that in mind as you are setting up your workspace and figuring out how you want to create. And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you'd like to see the real-time version, it's up in Critique Club. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye!